Coming up on Look Today, well, a special workshop took place today in Saratoga Springs on inclusionary zoning, and we were there. And a panel of physicians discussed single-payer healthcare systems. That took place in Glens Falls. We've got details. Plus, South Glens Falls School District appoints 2 new principals. More on that coming up. All ahead on Look Today. Welcome everyone, I'm Jay Hood Jackson. This is Look Today. In tonight's program, I sit down with Peter Nelson. He's the president of Friends of Music in Saratoga, and he's here to talk about a music festival that's happening on June 17th. I also sit down with Braden Reardon. He's executive chef for the Adelphi Hotel and Salt and Char restaurant in Saratoga. He's here to discuss his professional and personal background and his blended burger project. You want to see this. Plus, we've got your weather for the Tri-North counties, but first, these headline stories. Well, in our lead story, a vote on inclusionary zoning in Saratoga Springs was postponed at the last City Council meeting. Now, the vote is now scheduled to take place on June 19, which is next Monday. However, today, a special workshop meeting took place in the council room, featuring city bankers and builders and developers to discuss how the inclusionary zoning ordinance would affect future housing developments. Well, the points of discussion included financial assessments, where these inclusionary developments would be built, and the importance of bankers and builders and developers working closely together to make all of this a reality. Well, we were at the meeting where Brad Birge spoke. He's the administrator, planning and economic development for Saratoga Springs.
Do you do principal houses with carriage houses that appear much smaller and have small lots associated with them? Do you do duplexes that have the same mass and size, if you will, the coverage of one normal principal unit? There's a variety of ways to try and accomplish that. But I think that's going to be the discussion between the developers and the planning board is, here's what you're expecting, here's what I'm expecting. And unless you relieve it entirely, we need to come to find a way to accommodate.
Wow, good. In other news, well, a public forum took place last night at the Crandall Public Library in Glens Falls. A panel of physicians discussed a single-payer healthcare system. Now, panelists included Dr. Andrew Coates. He's former president of Physicians for a National Health Program, and Dr. Daniel Larson. He's chief medical officer for Hudson Headwaters Health Network. Now, under a single-payer system, a public entity, such as Medicare, for instance, would coordinate payments for all health care. Well, we've invited some of the panelists on for interviews, and we'll have more on this in the coming days and weeks. Switching from news to weather, another hot day. Whoa, temperatures in the high 90s. Expect more overcast skies tomorrow, however. So let's see how the rest of the week is shaping up. For a more detailed look at our weather, let's head to the Glens Falls Weather Center for a look at your first forecast.
Thank you, Jesse. I'm meteorologist Clarence Ponser with your first look weather forecast. Right now, we have that Bermuda high way off towards the Atlantic. We also bring in the southern breeze that's impacting much of the United States, mostly impacting towards the south, but there's that cold frontal boundary that's making its way through New England. That's going to be an enhanced chance of showers and thunderstorms, and that's going to be our weather pattern for this evening into our day tomorrow. Looking at a closer view, 53 degrees in Albany, 52 Buffalo, 51 out in Burlington, Vermont. So as this cold front is making its way down towards the southeast. So in a more tighter look, temperatures are going to be mainly in the mid-50s, some places like Fort Edward, Whitehall, Glens Falls in the mid-50s as well. And as you go a little bit forward towards the north and maybe a little bit of higher elevation, upper 40s may be expected for our Tuesday night. We're looking at clearing skies, 53 the overnight low as that cold front passes by. A beautiful day to get out on the lake. Sunny weather, 74 the expected high with that north breeze at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Look at a mild and sunny start, mid to upper 50s at 8 a.m. By the 9 a.m. hour, 62 degrees will be our temperature. And look at the extended outlook here. We're looking to be in the upper 70s by Thursday, still mostly sunny after a morning low of 48, but then the rain chances return by Friday, Saturday, and Sunday as temperatures reach the lower 70s as a cold front passes. Then it's going to lift back up north as a warm front as temperatures quickly climb back to the lower to mid 80s for highs. So summer is making a comeback by the time we see the later half of the weekend. So that's a look at the first look weather forecast. I'm meteorologist Clarence Ponsler. Now send it back to you, Jesse.
Thanks a lot, Clarence. All right, back to the news. Well, the South Glens Falls Central School District Board of Education voted unanimously to appoint 2 new principals. Peter Modi is the new principal of the high school, and Rebecca Tolman is the new principal for the Moreau Elementary School. Well, we spoke to Mike Patton. He's superintendent of the South Glens Falls School District.
First and foremost, it's really important as part of their entry plan to get a sense of the culture and the climate and the history of our school district, and appreciate the wonderful things that we already have in place. But at the same time, it's an opportunity for them to meet with their teachers and staff and gather feedback as much as possible from parents and community members about not only what our strengths are, but what are some areas that we want to grow and we want to continuously improve upon.
Yeah, well said. Up next, I sit down with Peter Nelson. He's president of Friends of Music in Saratoga, and he's here to talk about a music festival that's happening on June 17. Plus, I also sit down with Braden Reardon. He's executive chef for the Adelphi Hotel and Salt and Char Restaurant in Saratoga. He's here to discuss his professional personal background and the Blended Burger Project. But first, if you've seen who's happening, you want to share a story idea, how about join us for an interview? Give us a call on the hotline. The number is 798-8000. Well, that's all the time we have for this edition of Look Today. I've got a couple of lookouts for tonight. First, Farmers Market, Lake George, opens tomorrow for the season. I'll be every Wednesday in Lake George. I don't know about you, but my wife and I, we love going to Farmers Market. So heads up, Farmers Market in Lake George tomorrow. Also, I'm sorry, I meant to mention this yesterday, but tonight, if you catch an early broadcast at Cafe Lena, it's Rockman Club, and it's Sly and the Family Stone. Bring your dancing shoes, okay? And I'm going to make a point of letting you know about these a little further in advance. And last but not least, I just have to end with a clip. Today, we were up at Cronin's Golf Resort outside of Warrensburg, and I say this all the time, but between Jim and John and Jeannie Cronin, you cannot believe the environment and the place. It's like going to Cheers. Everybody knows everybody. It's so much fun to be there. A lot of places you go to play golf, you got to wear the right shirt and you got to look the right way. Come as you are to Cronin's and you'll have a ball. I'm out on the golf course with Jim, and I passed by this rather unusual looking scene. So we stopped, and I think that's all I'm going to tell you about. So here's what happened when we were at that scene. Good night, everybody. Tonight on Look TV, Queensbury Town Board meeting. See you tomorrow night. Jim, I got a question here, okay? It's not exactly in the Christmas spirit to have barbed wire around your tree. Something bothered you about this, right?
We'd like to preserve this tree for years to come, and I feel with the barbed wire, maybe perhaps no one will cut it down this Christmas season. As I mentioned, not last winter, but the winter prior, somebody cut the tree down, perhaps brought it home, and I hope that they enjoyed themselves. But we got a bigger one now, and unless you have a cathedral ceiling, it's not going to do much good in your home. Merry Christmas if I don't get a chance to see you.